vid recapping what we went over in class today. Now, here is the Adobe Max poster file with the text in it. And I will cop to being a little confused about something. There's something that happened today in class that I was not expecting. I think it's the way the computers are configured. So follow along with me for a second. I have this text file, RTF, rich text format, which is like a basic text format. I'm going to go into InDesign. I'm going to start a new document. And I'm going to come up here. These are all the kind of the templates, the blank starters, so to speak. And these down here are all pre-made templates that InDesign offers you. We'll talk more about those as we go on. But here's a letter. You notice it's rendered in pixels, which is fine. Come on over here. The orientation is portrait, meaning it's standing up straight. And here is that facing pages button. I did this in class after I started the document. You can do it now or you can do it later, but you're going to do it for your poster. So I'm going to switch that off. And you'll notice when I do that, if you look down here, it says top, bottom, left, right. If I make facing pages, it says top, bottom, inside, outside, because it assumes I'm designing to a spine, to a center point, which this is a poster. I'm not doing it, so I'll do one and I'll hit create. There's my new document. This is the margin. This is the beginning of our grid. And if I go to layout, margins and columns, I can edit these settings. So I'm going to do 6 picas, 0 points. When you work in picas, there are 12 points to a pica. I'm going to express 6, and you'll notice as I do that, everybody changes. That's because the lock is on. These are all moving in lockstep with each other. In class on Friday, we'll talk about this setting, which is columns, but for now, you can leave it alone. I'm going to marquee a box. Now, what I wanted to do in class was this. File, place, Command D, and this works for images and text. So it says, okay, where is the file? When I tried to do this in class today, this was grayed out. It wouldn't allow me to grab the rich text format. And I don't know why. I don't know how the people at FIT calibrated their machines that this didn't work. But this is usually how I do it. I don't know if you remember that I got annoyed and it's telling me, oh, wait, the fonts aren't here. I don't care. I got annoyed and said, okay, I'll just go in and copy and paste. But this usually is how I bring text in. So here's the headline. Here's the date. This is the introductory copy. Session highlights belongs to all of these different sessions. You'll notice, see the little plus sign? Remember what that means, that there's text hidden underneath. Now, here's my toolbar. I've set it using this little double arrow to be a 2-column. This is just my peculiarity that I like this. Please note that I am not in preview mode. If I click on this little button on the right-hand side, I go into preview mode and I lose all of the grid marks. Don't want to be in preview mode. I want to see my grid marks. So I'm going to do this. And I also want to see my invisibles. You say, what's an invisible? If I go up to type, and I say show hidden characters, these are my invisibles. These little things in blue show me how the type is breaking and which is a paragraph and which is not, but these wouldn't print. They'll never print. So this is what a space looks like. This is what a tab looks like. So when somebody did this, they put a tab in here. This little backwards P is called a pilcrow. So I'm going to back up. Command minus, and I'm going to start from the bottom. I'm going to click and drag. Let's see. This is the one I used in class. I did Photoshop for beginners. Now, there's a whole plethora of copy right here, right? It goes on and on and on. All of the different events go on and on and on. So I'm going to do a little trick. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to cut it. You can see everything is linked together, and as I cut the one on the top, the ones on the bottom kind of rush up to fill that space. And then I'm going to put my blinking cursor inside the box, and I do select all, Command A, and I hit the delete key. Now the box is empty. Now I can paste in my text. That's what I was going to do in class today, and the machine wouldn't let me, and I don't know why. So sorry for that kerfuffle. So what I did in class today, I opened up Adobe Max, and let's see. I grabbed my, here it is, Photoshop for Beginners. Mine's black and white to be easier on my eyes. So I'll do these side by side. I'll create the columns. Your columns are probably going to be about this narrow to get everything to fit into your file. Get the type tool, click and drag, and I'm going to paste. Now, something else that I noticed when I was looking over your shoulders today, some of you have hard returns at the end of every line. And that, again, has something to do with the way your machines are configured. You're going to need to take those out. And I apologize for that, but you cannot have, like, what I mean is, like, if I looked at this, you had a hard return here at the end of a sentence that clearly belongs inside a paragraph. We don't want those. We only want the pilcrows, the paragraph returns, at the edges of things that are going to create their own little island of text. So let's see. I'll delete this one for now. I'm going to grab this. It's Minion Pro. I can see it up here. I can come up here if I want to and get my type tool, my character tool, excuse me, and my paragraph tool. Please note that I don't want character styles and I don't want paragraph styles. Sorry, paragraph styles. I don't want these two. This is for Friday. Character and paragraph. Here we go. So I have character and paragraph. I'm going to set these here while I do this. So this time around, instead of using Red Hat, I'm going to choose, let's see what I got here. Let's get something good. Something readable. Sorry, I should have had something picked out. Let's do Cormorant. It's a beautiful classic serif face. All right, so I think that might be my body copy. So I'll go in here. 12 point's a little big. Cormorant has a very tall X height. But let's start with 12 point. I got to start somewhere. So I'll make it 12 on 15. And then let's go and do this. I'm going to choose my headline copy. And obviously you're not going to pull this stuff out of a hat. You're going to do a little bit of research. You're going to find, remember I said one in gold lame, one in black velvet. They need to complement each other. So maybe I want, no, I don't like that. That's too hard to read. I want a nice, there we go. That's my baby. Franklin Gothic heavy. Yeah. And I'm going to come up here. I didn't do this in class. I am going to set my, it's also down here. I am going to set my kerning, or the space between my letters, to be optical. You'll notice that it's just a little wider. I think it looks a little better. If I wanted to get fancy pantsy, I could come up here. See the TT? That's for all cap. I don't like it. I'm going to undo it. Anyway, I want a little bit of air between the headline and what comes next. So at this point, I'm going to go to my paragraph, and I'm going to add that little bit of air. Now, this is the most important part, right? I want people to notice the name of the workshop. Well, I'm going to go to 14 point on 16 lead. We call this +2 because this is 14 plus 2 equals 16. Now, do I want this to be in the sans serif face, or do I want this to be in the serif face? I think maybe, just for fun, I'll keep it in the cormorant, and maybe I'll do semi-bold. This is where you get to decide, how do I make things stand out? How do I create the hierarchy? Now, in class, I deleted the pilcrow, I just hit the delete key, and put in a soft return here. Because in class, I decided I wanted my date and my time the same size. I'm going to undo. You know what? Maybe I want the time to be smaller. Maybe to me the time isn't as important as the date, but I definitely want more space between the time and his name. See how I'm starting to create relationships? The time and the date go together. His name, his title, and the company he works for goes together. So if I want them all as different typefaces and different styles, that's perfectly fine. I can keep those hard returns if I want them. But I'm going to go in. Let's go to paragraph. I'll give it just 2 points. Maybe I'll do something different. Maybe I'll take out that return and put in that. There's a ton of type in this poster. Maybe we have to save a line somewhere. Maybe we don't have all this real estate. So I want where he works and what his job title is on the same line. I'm going to grab that. And I feel like this is almost a footnote, almost like a parenthetical. So, by the way, that's too much space. Here we go. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to make this a point size smaller, and I'll make it ital. Will I? No, I won't, because there's no ital in Cormorant. All right, I'll make it light. So you have to kind of work these things out. I can already tell I'm not going to use Cormorant because I want an italic, but for now I'm going to keep going. Now, this is his title and where he works. This is the body copy. I need another space. So let's add some more space. Things that are closer together go together. Things that are further apart stay apart, have less of a relationship to each other. These 3 things have a very close relationship to each other because they are all kind of the criteria of what the session is. So I'm going to delete and do shift return. Delete. I'm deleting the Pilcrow and I do shift return. And if I zoom on in, that is what a soft return looks like. Here is the benefit of a soft return. If I want to add space between here, I'm going to cheat. I'm going to grab this whole thing and copy it and paste. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a point size smaller. The next thing I'm going to do is add some space below it. Now, when you do this for realsies, you're going to have the next piece. Let's pretend this is the next session here. So there's a couple of ways to do this. I can add extra space here. Right? I've got 5 points. I can also add extra space above. This is space above. So if this is 7 and this is 5, 5 plus 7 is 12. That's 1 pica of space. I want more space here than there is anywhere else here. So let's come up here for a second. This is 6. So I feel like this space between sessions should be greater than this space, which is between the date and the headline. So I'm really going to go in and add some space. Here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to go in and add a hard return. No, no, no. That's not how you set type. You set type using paragraph space. That is what sets you apart from the amateurs. Okay? So let me make that bold, semi-bold. Now I only want you to do one event. If you want to copy it and paste it so you can see the relationship between the 2 of these, that's fine. You don't have to do it. But this is all I want from you for your homework. I want you to pick 2 typefaces that you're going to use, and I want you to at least make a start on resolving how the copy goes together. Do not work ahead. I just want one entry. And then watch this. I am going to come over here. I'll put my name. And I'll say headline. Well, you know what I'll do? I'll do this. I'll say typeface 1, Franklin Gothic bold. Right? Is it Franklin Gothic bold? Franklin Gothic heavy, excuse me. Franklin Gothic heavy. And then here for typeface 2, this is cormorant. Just so that you have, we're going to do this project piece by piece. I want you to have a record of your typeface choice. So spend a little time, do a little research on typeface pairs. I'll put some resources in the week 11 folder for you. This is all I want. And then look, we're going to go to File. You're going to come down to Adobe Presets. Yours will look different from mine. I have some custom presets. This is the one you want. You should have this in your list. Smallest file size. And then I'll call this Kris Dykman type sample. You can call it homework. You can call it whatever you want to call it. I'm going to save it. Now you get this bewildering array of controls. Don't worry about any of them except this one. Click on View PDF. Make sure this is checked on, because when you hit export, don't worry about overset text. It's fine. The moment you hit export, it automatically opens up Acrobat Reader so that you can take a look at it. If you have time between now and Friday, you might want to print this out and take a look at it. You might want to do two side by side and do one bigger and one smaller. Nothing is engraved in stone. You're allowed to change your mind right up until the end, but I want you to start exploring typefaces, and I want you to start figuring out relationships between these listings. There are 18 of these in your project. You need to figure out what goes where. Okay, let me know if you have questions.